up, fight fans? I'm the cartoon clown of mixed martial arts, Tommy Toehold. UFC 196 is this Saturday, so before you go making your team at DraftKings.com, here are my pro tips, fights to avoid, and fighters you should probably put on your team. First up, pro tips. When making your picks this Saturday, look for fighters who finish fights fast. Round 1 stoppages are worth 100 points. Heavyweights are always a great idea too. They're big, they're heavy, and usually somebody's going night-night. 5-round fights give main eventers 2 more rounds to get you points, so long as they make it into the championship rounds. And always look for mismatched styles. Your fighter's a K1 champion and your opponent's been knocked out by 7 kickboxers? That's probably a fighter you're going to want to keep on your squad. Now let's get into specifics. Here are the top 5 fighters I think you should pick for UFC 196. Coming in at number 5 is Valentina Shevchenko. With 9 stoppages and 12 wins, she's Fantasy MMA gold. Her opponent's last loss came to a high-level striker, and Shevchenko is a high-level striker. How high-level? She's a world champion in Muay Thai and kickboxing. And she's defeated Joanna Jędrzejczyk outside MMA. With all her experience, look for her to shine in this fight. At number 4 is Brandon Thatch. This dude is gigantic for a welterweight. 6'2", he has the reach advantage. I've seen him in person, he's a monster. Every MMA fight he's ever won has come in the first round, and while he's had some issues with subs recently, his opponent hasn't had a sub win since 2007. He's also been absent from the cage since 2013. Meanwhile, Thatch has been active with 2 fights just last year, one of which he held his own against Benson Henderson. A very solid pick. Coming in at number 3 is Eric Silva. Eric's last 5 wins came in the first round. He has 11 submissions and 18 victories. His opponent was just subbed in his last fight, and with the combination of his judo and jiu-jitsu black belts, he's a handful to train for and to defend against. Silva generally shines against middle-tier fighters, and I think Saturday will be no different. Coming in at number 2 is Vitor Miranda. To start, he's won his last 2 fights in the UFC via TKO. He's a K1 kickboxing champion. He has 8 first-round finishes. His opponent's only loss came via KO to a high-level striker. And the kicker, Miranda was a heavyweight before he was a middleweight. Look for fireworks in that fight. And coming in at number 1 is the notorious Conor McGregor. His opponent, Nate Diaz, has only had a week to prepare. Nate will likely stand with McGregor. Conor has 13 first-round finishes and has finished 6 of his 7 UFC fights. He averages over 100 fantasy points per fight. There's just no way you can pass this guy up Saturday night. But not every fight is gold at UFC 196. These are the fights that I plan on avoiding altogether. Julian Erosa versus Teruto Ishihara. The problem with this fight is that there's just not enough data. Yes, they have experience, but their experience is not UFC level, so it's a bit of a risk taking their stats beyond their UFC careers. And so far, their UFC fights were both split decision. I'm not touching this one. The other I'm passing up on is Jim Miller versus Diego Sanchez. Both guys are historically low fantasy point scorers. Miller is not going to stand and bang with Diego Sanchez, and with his wrestling, this fight is probably going to go to the ground, where both men can hold their own. So I see a 3-round stalemate and very few points being scored. Those are my tips and tricks for UFC 196. See you on the leaderboards, fight fans!